I currently got Darx Ko on the line, another musician that reached out about the current interview session. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Darko, Darxko. A little backstory about the name. Long story short, I have an artist friend. We've been best friends since high school. Originally, he wanted to do the whole Donnie Darko because that's kind of like his nickname. He dropped the Darko part and pretty much kept the Donnie. So I was like, you know what? I like smaller, short names for any username I ever do. So I was like, you know what? I'll take the Darko part and I'll add the X to it to make it look like it's like the old classic gamer tag type days where you put an X in your name. So that's kind of like the inspiration behind the name. And it just kind of just stuck. A lot of people, like the name. So I just got to make the name bigger. Just got to, get my name out there. But yeah, so a little bit about me is I make pretty much anything from country to pop to jazz if I have to. I just kind of make whatever speaks to me. My main genre that I love to do is personally pop. I really like, to really like put feeling into music and sing. But yeah, pop is like my favorite genre to do. I do a lot of different versions of said pop. So like alternative pop, hyper pop, all of that. Sometimes I like to rap, but I'm not comfortable with my rapping yet. Like I like doing hip hop. I'm just not really comfortable in that space. Um, Ironically, I have lived that background, tragic background story that a rapper usually raps about, but I'm just not that vulnerable enough to put that in rhyme yet. So, but yeah, just a little bit more about me is I love doing what I do. I don't do it for the fame or the money. I honestly, genuinely love making music because I just love making music. And I'm always humble about that. I don't care how many people show up to the shows. I don't care how much I make at the shows. At the end of the day, if I got up on that stage and I made one new fan or I inspired someone to go up there and just do what they love, that's all I care about. And that's kind of my mission. That's my goal.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that. We will definitely dive into some of that. But to get started, let's talk about where this love of music came from. Tell me about the environment you were in when you started to realize that music had more of an impact on you.
I actually do come from the hub of hip hop. So I'm actually from the Bronx, New York. I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in the Bronx, New York. So a lot of that love for music just came because of where I'm from and where I grew up in. Of course, I have an older father, so a lot of times he would put me on to the classics, the Wu Tang and a lot of the old classic Bronx music, a lot of the hip hop. So I just fell in love with just the rhymes and the way like these rappers would just put so many like metaphors and the way they would just like put words together. That's just always been very interesting. Um, I wasn't really a rapper from the start. Like I still never seen myself as a rapper. I've always just felt like if I can do essentially rhymes but singing, I always try to do that. Um, but yeah, just being in that environment and just kind of hanging out with my friends. We would we would go to McDonald's, and unfortunately, we was rowdy, but we would literally sit there and just like tap on the table and then just freestyle. So a lot of that, like in like kind of what you call it, like enlightened more of why I want to do music because I just found it like to be fun.
All right. So tell me about how that kind of progressed into you actually learning music. I relate to the growing up around music and being in that sort of environment. Tell me about how that manifested for you. Was it writing lyrics and kind of just exploring flow, or did you also experiment with instruments?
I actually freestyled a lot. Um, so funny enough, when I had moved out of New York to live in Massachusetts, I lived with my father in Cape Cod. I had a lot of white friends. So whenever I would freestyle, I don't know if I was just getting gassed up, but whenever I would freestyle, a lot of my friends would be like, yo, like, why are you not writing this down? Why are you not, saying this on a microphone? And that's kind of what just kind of sparked something. I was just like, you know what? why don't I just write this down? It would probably sound so much better if I actually structured what I was saying. So that's kind of like where, where I just started. I kind of freestyled. Little by little, I would write it down. Uh, if it, then I would go like on YouTube, search up kind of like the mood. I didn't really start with the type beats of like the artist. I would type like kind of like, like sad type beat or like rapping type beat or like, type beat, but like the emotion, not like specifically what a lot of people be like, oh, like little TJ type beat or, little baby type beat type that. So not until, I started being a fan of like XXX Tentacion and Ski Mask and stuff, that's when I started really wanting to like, do more of that inspiration of to sound like them until I found my own voice.
Okay, and tell me about that process. You mentioned finding your own voice. Do you mean like physically, as in how you wanted to present yourself, or do you mean contextually in the type of stuff that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, definitely both. So when I first started, my friend would tell me, he's like, dude, I like, your flows and I like your style, but, he would tell me straight up. He would just tell me, like, be honest. And he's just like, I just don't feel like it's essentially you, you know? Um, he would coach me, even though me and him basically was in that same status of like being like kind of amateur. He would still essentially coach me because he would like research more. He would read books about music and flows and styles. So he would tell me, he's like, hey, this is what you should do. And then I took that like deep to the heart and I was like, you know what, he's right. I started really, studying the genre I was making the music of. And I started trying to find my own flow within that genre. So it started more to where sounding better, singing wise, like, getting my singing better, hitting keys, learning, what those keys were. And then little by little, that's when I started working on my actual structure and formatting of what I wanted to sing about, what I wanted to rap about. I don't want to do what's trendy. I just want to do what I love.
Okay, perfect. So tell me about how that became a project for you. Are you working on music currently and putting stuff down, or where would you say that you are in the creative process?
Right now, I'm definitely working on a song. Me and my producer are definitely locking in. We are trying not to rush anything. We have a lot of good songs in the vault. We have a lot of scrapped songs as well, and it's because we keep rushing, just because it sounds good. It to us it needs to really like have meaning. A lot of our songs that we work on, it doesn't feel essentially like it's going to be impactful. So right now I am working not on a project, on a song. Currently also planning a couple shows that I'm doing. Performing live tomorrow at a vendor market. So that's going to be fun. But I'm also working on just like different type of flows. Right now, I'm working on a really cool hip hop beat right now because I was inspired by my own music. My song called "I Can Do Anything" that I did with my friend Donnie and produced by my producer BU. So we're doing the hip hop thing again to just kind of get me into that mode, that feeling.
Okay, perfect. And where do you see that going? Are you eventually going to release an album or just start doing shows? Like, how do you see yourself participating with music in, say, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to, finally make more projects and not just singles. I'm trying to really lock in into creating something I love and just having something I I'm a little ahead of myself, but generational. I don't, I feel like a lot of timeless music comes out because people take their time with that art. Uh, uh, that's something that's essentially generational and not just a for the moment type song. If you know kind of like what I mean, where there's like for the music of the time, I just want to make something that's just like timeless. And for the future, that's kind of just like, all together, like it kind of just answers that all.
All right. And then once you have that album out, what happens after that? Are you going to pursue doing shows, participate in like your local music scene? Where do you see yourself fitting in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Once I make the project, that's going to be the project that is essentially going to be focused on with promotion and making sure that it's out there, it's being heard. Um, Doing shows, like I said, I love doing shows, so it's not going to be something that I'm going to really focus on, like how many people is there or how much I'm getting paid. If I can put myself out there at a show, or if I can, host a show, plan one, that's going to be my main goal. So I really want to lock in on a project and then kind of focus on those shows later. But my main goal right now is making the music to make those shows very entertaining.
All right, perfect. So why don't you share with me a couple memories that you have of getting all this going that keep you motivated to continue to participate in music?
Right now, I'm a father of two, so I want to essentially, it's going to get very deep, but I want to essentially leave something. I want to, something for my kids to like listen to later, something for my kids to essentially like brag about, like, hey, that's my dad. Like, so that is kind of what keeps me going, is knowing that I'm doing something that I love, and that shows my kids that they can also do it. And just loving music in general is also what keeps me like still motivated into doing this, because I really love doing this.
All right. And as you continue to put stuff out there and do shows and everything, where can people find you and follow along that journey? What are some of your social media links?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get better at social media. My big one that I like to post on is Instagram. So it's gonna be DARXKO underscore underscore. And then I want to do a lot of like more promo videos, and get creative. TikTok, same thing, DARXKO. I believe it's underscore, just one underscore. And then I got like YouTube Reels. I don't really use the Facebook pages as much. It's just normally just to post, like, any future shows. But a lot of like any updates or anything like that would be my Instagram. That is the one main thing that I feel like this generation uh, likes to use a lot. So I'm trying to kind of push that out.
All right, sounds good. So I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So, what's a message that you have that you want to share with other people?
Yeah, I just want to let people know. I say these little like motivational stuff on my story all the time. Don't let the numbers get to you. I understand that you see all these people on social media, TikTok, blowing up like crazy. These trends, but keep doing what you love to do. Because at the end of the day, when I used to do music reviews on TikTok and I had like, 15 people watching and up, and they go in there and they feel discouraged because essentially I didn't rate their song super high. But I always tell them that fans come and go. I would rather have 10 fans than having a million followers but only 10 fans in there, because a room full of those 10 fans is better than just fake people following you and just watching. And I always tell them, just keep doing it. Just keep doing what you love. Don't worry about if the song is going to blow up today, tomorrow. Just do it because you have that passion of the music. Remember, it's an art, and remember that art will forever live on if you let it.